Well, hello friends, it's Joni here at Joni's Journals, and we are back to make another version of a Christmas tag, okay? This is the oversized tag that I constructed using one of my extra large tags and placing a smaller tag on top of it, and then doing a little bit of collaging. So what I have gone ahead and done is I have pulled out some ephemera that we're probably going to use on our tag. And now if you remember in my last video, my easy collaged tags, I have added my collage strips to one of my smaller tags, and we're just going to trim around. Excuse me, there was something on my arm. We're going to trim around our collage strips. We're going to trim our collage strips off. And as I've told you in the past, there are always certain parts of my collage strip that I want to save. And I try not to cut through people. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to trim around our tag and cut off the excess collage strip. Okay, you can skip ahead in the video if you have seen me do this before and don't want to watch me do it again, but I'm trying to salvage that little piece there with those two gentlemen. And so I'm just going to cut along here like so. We have this little piece that we can use as a page edge, and we have this piece which I'll straighten up with my trimmer. We have the two gentlemen there, and then we're going to cut along here, cut off this side, and we will have a very easily collaged small tag that we are going to place on top of our large tag, which has been glued. I showed you how to do this as well, just adding the tag to the Christmas backdrop papers. Now I'm going to cut along here. And I am going to have so many handmade Christmas tags and Christmas decorations this year that I will just be set before Christmas even comes along, because if you've been watching my other videos, I also have a bunch of Christmas cards made. So now we have the big tag and we have the little tag, which we will place in the center. But you know me, I like to ink, okay? So I'm going to grab out my vintage photo, and I am just going to ink around the edges of my tags, okay, to make them look a little bit more vintage, okay? I will also be, I have an idea for fabric Christmas trees that I have been wanting to make, and I was hoping to get them done this summer before I go back to school. I'm going to punch my little hole. You all know this from the previous ones, but I just wanted to show you the whole process. Pull that down a little so I can get in there and punch my little hole. Okay, I am going to grab one of my homemade vintage reinforcers and put that right around the little hole there, like so. Now I'm going to do the same thing with this tag. I'm going to punch the hole, grab one of my little, I am not going to do any sewing on these because I am putting one tag on top of the other. I don't want the stitching to interfere. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and I am going to decorate my smaller tag before I go ahead and add it to my larger tag. So we're going to take the larger tag and put that over there. We're going to ink around the edges of this one. We have just come through what I believe has been a very short rain and thunderstorm here. I live in an area, I'm in Florida, and I live in an area which is close to the water. And that water is the Myakka River. It's an inlet from the Myakka River, which the Myakka River eventually dumps itself out into the harbor, which eventually dumps itself out into the Gulf of Mexico. And so our area gets rain, but not as much as other areas. Okay, so I have picked these three little gentlemen to be the people that are going to be on the front of my smaller tag. But I wanted to get in a little bit of Christmas here, and so I picked this little piece of ephemera which says Christmas greeting, and I am just going to ink around the edge of that, and I'm going to center it on my tag because this is one of our easily collage tags, so we don't really need to do too much to this little tag. And so we're going to add this piece here. I'm going to push it up a little bit towards the reinforcement because my gentlemen are going to go here, and I wanted the word Christmas to show, so I may have to push this up just a little bit, kind of edge them down. If their feet are falling off the bottom of this tag, it's no mind because we have the bigger tag that's going to go underneath them. So I'm going to glue this piece right onto my tag, like so. Okay. And I also, I may seem to be rushing a little bit with this one if I'm not as chatty and more to work, because I want to show you also a large tag that I have prepared to add one of our little shakers to. And so, yeah, I want to try and get through this one. Now, I have not been doing anything to my paper dolls, but what I have been doing is I've taken my black archival ink and I've just been edging them like so, because I want to try to get some of that white edging off of them. And so I'm just taking one of my tiny daubers and my black archival ink, and I'm just going to go around these edges as close as I can to try to get rid of that white, okay, so that they're not really looking too white on the edge there. And I'm going to go around, I'm just going to ink it up very lightly, enough to make a difference, again, to take out some of that white, but I'm not going to go crazy. Okay, I'm going to try to get into these little spots here, like so. And you'll see what usually happens is I end up getting more black on the back of it than I do actually onto the image itself. And then what we're going to do, we are just going to simply lay these guys down onto our simple collage tag. So I'm going to add glue like so. And we are going to do some collaging, but not even really collaging. We're just going to kind of dress up the edge of that big tag with some of the ephemera that I have laying right there. So now let's put these guys down. Try to get them as centered as possible. Okay, let's make sure that they're straight. Okay, and you can still see the word Christmas. Okay, we are going to add our string back onto our tag because I kind of like the effect of the tag on tag and it actually showing that it is a tag. And so I want to add my string in here. Okay, and we will grab, what the heck did I just do with them? Okay, I don't have them out. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this little piece of ephemera that says December 25th. I'm going to ink around the edges of it, like so. Okay, what did I do with them? I don't know what I did with them. I had those little tags out that we've been using on our other ones. And I'm going to punch a little hole in this, and I'm going to dangle it off the string. Okay, punch a little hole. I don't want to get the birdie too bad. Okay, and we're going to add this little piece right here to the front. We're not going to fuss too much. I mean, not to the front, to the string, so that it shows on the front. Okay, don't want to fuss too much. I'm going to tie my little knot. Okay, like so. And now we have our little tag prepared. Now we're going to want to add it to our bigger tag, okay? And we're going to just judge whereabouts that tag is going to lie on the big tag, because I want to add this little lace down here at the bottom. You can see I did the same thing with this one. And so I'm going to bring it up just so that it's on the bottom of the tag. We're going to have to trim it. Okay. So let me grab my glue. And I'm going to add some glue to the back of this piece of ephemera, which I forgot to ink. So let's see if I can kind of do that without getting too gluey. Okay, let's try and grab it. Okay, we're gonna ink it up. Let's grab some more ink so that the dauber is kind of inky. Okay, and we are going to put this here on the bottom of our tag, like so. Okay, we're gonna make sure it's straight. It's hanging over the edge, but it's not really hanging over the edge. You can see on this one that it's just barely hanging over the edge of the tag. Okay, we're going to use these guys again. We're going to lay them down and see where they are in the center. Okay, and then I have my little candy cane here, which I'm going to add on the side like so. Okay, so we're going to ink that up, and this time I remembered before I added the glue. Okay, and again, you can use whatever ephemera you want. As you can see on this one, I did pick out long strips of things. I took a ruler and a tape measure image off of both of those, and I put those there. So now I'm going to figure about putting it right about there so that it's kind of centered with the tag. And so I'm going to add some glue along here, along the back of the little candy cane, Christmas candy cane stick. I don't know what the other word for these would be. I guess a little candy stick, I don't know. And then I have this piece here, which is out of the layers and Paperdolls, and I'm going to put that, I'm going to have to lift up my tag. I'm going to put that one right about here, like so, okay? I'm lifting up my tag because I don't care if I cover up a portion of this piece of ephemera, because, and I didn't ink this either, so let's just, see, I'm rushing to try and get things done. So let's just add a little bit of ink. This one's not so bad. Okay, I'm just going to ink around the edge. I'm going to grab it. And remind me to ink first next time. Okay, and I'm going to add my tag back because I want to get an idea of whereabouts this piece should fall. And I think that it will be okay. Yeah, right about there, a little bit above the edging there. And I'm just gonna put it slightly off the edge of the tag. I did get a little glue on there. I wanna make sure it's straight. Okay. All right, and we can put our gentleman back here on the tag, okay? And it is they are gonna cover up part of that piece of ephemera, but that's okay. And then I had pulled out this little piece, which I don't think is gonna fit anywhere, but I do have this little December 25th which we can pop up in the corner over there, like so. And we're just going to ink around it because I remembered to do that first. Okay, so we're going to pop that right there at the top. Okay, so I'm going to add some glue to the back of it. And we're going to lay that piece down. See how easy it is when you add just a solid piece of paper and you make your little background using those collage tags. Collage labels, collage strips. And then I pulled out these, but I don't know that I'm going to use it, but I do have this little poinsettia that I think I'm going to ink around the edges using the black, because this is a shiny piece of ephemera. So we'll use the archival ink in black, and we'll just ink the edges of those lightly. And then we'll add our poinsettia up here, like so. And we'll just do this. And now, let's see, do we really feel like we want to add something in here, or is our tag, our little tag that we're adding, going to be enough to decorate that area? Let's see. Okay, we have our guys here. All right, and they're going to cover a part of that. And no, I think, you know what? We have this tiny little piece, which what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink this and I'm going to put it down for now. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my small tag, and then up at the top, I'm going to slide this little tiny thin strip here, which is also another little like tape measure. I'm going to slide that on after we add our tag. Okay, so we are going to add our tag like that. Okay, let's add our tag, our smaller tag, to the front of our larger tag, and I'm going to put some glue around that reinforcer there. And I'm just going to put plenty of glue on the back of here, like so. And then I'm going to put a line of glue along here on the edge, because we are going to butt up against that strip here. So I want to make sure that it's going to stay stuck down, okay? I'm going to grab my tag, and I'm going to lay it down. Try and center it, and you can use the pre-existing holes in your tags to make sure that you have your smaller tag right in the center of your larger tag. And I'm turning this just a little to make sure that it's straight. So now we have our little tag joined onto our larger tag, and I'm wondering, will this fit? We can actually stick this here across the bottom. It will hang over a little, but it's where it's hanging over onto the little ripple on our, I don't know, our little seal? What would you call that? Our little trim piece at the bottom there. So I think what I'm going to do is I am going to add this. I'm going to center this onto the tag, okay? And this way we have a joyous Christmas too added onto this. All right, we're going to put that down, and we're going to push it up, and we're going to get it into the center. I'm centering it more with the smaller tag. Okay, so now we have a joyous Christmas. Uh-oh, where did my little, oh, there it is. And then we have this little teeny tiny ruler that I think we'll add up here, across there, like so. I think that's kind of cute. Now let's try and get the glue on the back here. Oh my goodness, what a tiny little piece. Okay, let's see. Oh, come on, let's go. Get in there. All right. And so now we have that little piece in there, and that kind of breaks it up, okay? We have that like that. We have that like that. And now let's grab a small little piece of this green cotton ribbon. We're just going to cut that off right there. And we're going to twist it. And we're going to poke it through the hole of the big tag. We're going to bring it up. And we're going to kind of size it and see if maybe, is it too big? It's a little too big. So I'm going to cut a little corner like that. And I'm going to cut a little corner like that. Okay, I'm going to bring them up even. Okay, so we have our little, what do you call it, ribbon trim. I'm going to grab my Tim Holtz tiny attacher. I'm going to put a little staple right in there, like so, not in my finger. Okay, and so now we have our ribbon added to the top, and we have our little Christmas tag, our little greeting tag. We can pull that down like that, and there we go. We made a large oversized tag, which I'm thinking, did I make this crooked? No, I think we're pretty good. And there we have it. So there you go. That's how I did my large tag. Now, let me just check to see how much time I got, how much time we've been going. All right, we're at about 20 minutes. I am going to push this out of the way, and I'm going to grab this one. Now, as you know, we made a shaker the other day, and then we made some simple collage tags using shakers that I made on my own. Okay. We made shaker tags, and we turned them into Christmas cards. Okay. But then I had also made a large oversized tag, which I've done some stitching on, because in this case it doesn't really matter. Okay, and I have a shaker, and what we're going to do is we're just going to decorate this one. This one's going to be another one where we're going to use our shaker and we're going to put it on its side. Okay, I'm just adding my reinforcement there. And my oversized tags did not come with strings. They came with wire, which I don't really care for. So what I did was I took a piece of embroidery thread and I cut a length of it, and I made just a little string for my tag, which we will be adding something to. And so now I'm just going to move this out of the way because I have already inked most of this ephemera. Now, I made a shaker, and it is a bit oversized, and I think I got the right amount of snow in this one. So now I could do it this way if I wanted to, but I kind of liked it on its side, and I think I have sprung a leak. I might have a bit of a leak in this shaker card. Doesn't seem to be too bad. All right. And so what I thought I might do was add this one to the side like so. I have this little boy picked out, okay, and we're going to make it so that his head is not sticking over the top. I have this little piece of ephemera, which I'm going to glue along the bottom here, like so. I have this big piece of ephemera, which I'm going to glue along the top, like so. And then we'll just decorate it up. And yeah, I just thought it would be fun. This piece got bent somehow or another, and I don't really know if it was me trying to get it in and out of the Ziplocs that I tend to store my things in, or whether it got bent when I was taking it out of the package. But yeah, it's a little bit bent. Oh, we have definitely sprung a leak somehow. All right, I am going to add this piece of ephemera to the very top of my tag, like so. Okay, says holiday greetings. Okay, and we're just going to push this down because this piece is a little bit thicker, and I am gluing down over my threads. And then I'm going to line this piece up, and I'm going to kind of center it into my tag, or maybe I'll just move it over a little bit to the edge there. I think I'd like to do that instead. Okay. And again, I put this tag on a piece of the Tim Holtz backdrops, the Christmas backdrops, and I did it exactly the same way as I showed you all how to do it. I just put glue on my tag, I laid the tag down on the backdrop, and then I just cut around it after the glue was dry and everything was set. Now I do have this piece to go here, and I had picked out these poinsettias to go right here like so, because they could go sideways. And then I do have, I don't know what I did with it. I think I used it on something else. I'm going to take this little piece here, and I'm just going to put down here, or a little bit up to the top, December 25th. No, I think I'll put it in the center, like so. Okay, or maybe we'll use our little tag here, like so, Santa's Workshop. You think that looks a little bit better? We can do that right there, and then we can put December 25th down here at the bottom. I think that's what we'll do. Okay, so I'm gonna ink this up. Okay, and I'm just gonna take that off of there. I'm gonna ink this a little with my vintage photo. I hope you guys and gals, everyone, have been having fun doing these Christmas tags. I just figured I would get a little bit more Christmas in before I move along to Halloween, which is my next step. If you follow me on Instagram and on my social media, you will see that I have posted some Halloween tags that I created using the heavy duty etc. tags. I just want to put this back to get an idea of where I'm putting my poinsettias. Okay, all right. I did create some Halloween tags. I do have, I have also started a little bit of a Halloween journal, but I do have some things planned for Halloween, but I figured I would get Christmas done before I have to go back to work on Friday. I would get as much Christmas stuff done, you know, finishing up Christmas in July and the beginning of August. I know I'm a little bit behind, and I apologize for that, but I didn't get to do everything I wanted to do before July ended. And so now we have this piece that will go right there like so. Oh, we wanted to add December 25th, didn't we? Okay, so we're going to add December 25th down here in the corner like so. Okay, we're going to butt that up right there, Santa. Or, I don't even know if I want to add this piece. That's something I can think about afterwards. What about our little pointy finger? Yeah, but then he's pointing in the wrong direction. I could point him this way. Oh, nope, I'm going to leave it. I'm just going to add my little shaker and my little boy, and we are going to call it done. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to try to squeeze in at least 2 more little tags, well, big tags in this case, and squeeze in as much as I could for Christmas in July, in the beginning of August. So yeah, let's just add our little shaker, which has definitely sprung a leak, I'm beginning to realize. We're going to add our little shaker like so, and slide it over just a bit, okay? Kind of making it uneven with holiday greetings. And then we're just going to add our little boy on here, so it looks like he's leaning onto the edge of that window there. So let's put some glue on him. And then I do have a cute little label to add to our string. Okay, let's try and get him on here like so. So it looks like he's leaning on the edge of the window. That little opening is what I mean by window. Wipe off that excess glue. I've already punched a hole and inked my little tag. And so I'm gonna take my string. I'm gonna put it through there. And we are gonna call this another Christmas tag made. And let's tie that knot, okay? And so we have our oversized Christmas tag with our shaker, which is still springing a leak. And I don't know from where, but I'll figure it out. And I may end up with a shaker with nothing left in it. Where is it coming from? It has to be coming from the bottom here somewhere. And I think I see where it sprung a leak. So I will figure out how to fix that. Maybe I will put some cellophane there. Oh, this is the one that I showed you the other day. What did I just do? Oh, and here is our other oversized tags. The one we made together. And the one that was an inspiration for this one. So I hope you enjoyed that. Okay, I'm going to go along and do a repair here and keep my sparkles in there because who wants to lose their sparkle? Okay, I'm going to send you lots of love, big hugs. Ask you please to remember to like, subscribe, and comment. And once school begins for me, which my first day back is Friday, August 8th, I will be coming back and we'll be doing some Halloween stuff. Okay? I'll see you then. Take care. Remember, like, subscribe, comment, love, hugs. Thank you for watching. Take care for now. Bye-bye.